And I think TikTok is a really great platform for trans masculine people. The content I see on there is just really, really
Yeah.
amazing. And y'all got a bigger following than I do. I only have 4,553 followers on my tarot astrology TikTok, but then on my political TikTok, which I just started, I have 61 followers, but the viewership is a little bit more on there. So they're really horrible at shadow banning. I think, Black content creators, some of the trans content creators, trans masculine folks. And so, to have that platform on TikTok is a really, really big deal. And I think TikTok is that platform that really is taking over the world, to be honest.
Big bitch.
I love the sound effects. Shout out to Solomon in the building for that. And just to add on to that, I feel like TikTok has been kind of a great equalizer, especially for trans mass folks, to kind of amass a following. There's been so many trans influencers, especially trans mass, that have kind of popped up in the last couple of years. Like there's Sasha that's on there. There's Ezra that's on there. There's all these other folks that are kind of coming in and coming to that space. What does that mean for you as a trans man to see that visibility come into space? Because, I mean, I know you're a little bit younger than me, but I still feel like our representation isn't quite where it could be. And I think that this is kind of heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I think so too. I definitely it has been really, really nice to see how much more accessible it is now for trans people to put themselves out there. TikTok really is the great equalizer because when I started making videos, I was kind of like, I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but I think TikTok is one of those platforms that if you just kind of really stay committed to trying to make content, something's going to stick and something's going to gain traction, which will in turn gain traction for everything else on your page. Yeah. So I was just kind of in this mindset of if I just keep throwing stuff at the wall, something's going to work. Something's going to stick with somebody. Yeah. And for a good while, it's funny because it was the song that kind of propelled me to get more just traction on the app.
Yes, ma'am. Is that what we're talking about?
I'm actually talking about trans rights.
Oh, actually, yeah, that one did hit too, the radar. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first song I ever released.
Trending through cis platforms and all of these different platforms.
That is amazing.
Yeah. In good ways and in bad ways.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, whenever my content, especially the ones where I'm aggressively trans rights, trans people, I'm a trans person. Sometimes it'll hit that wrong side of TikTok. And then, my comments will get kind of flooded with you're a woman.
We know all about comments.
The libs of TikTok from what I hear.
Yeah, I'm it's a pain in the ass to deal with. But I mean, social media, what can you do? There's always kind of people who are going to be.
Yeah, what made you want to get started in music in the first place?
Oh, I've always had a really big musical background. Back from when I was a child. My dad has always been a big music guy. I grew up a lot with him buying CDs and showing me different artists. He was really big on giving me a music education. Music has always been something, especially on my dad's side of the family, that's always been really important to us. So for example, my aunt is a church singer in the Dominican Republic. So I spent a lot of time around gospel singing, but also just a lot of jazz. My dad's a real big smooth jazz fan, so I grew up listening to a lot of Count Basie and stuff like that.
And I can hear that actually in your sound because the hip hop style that you kind of touch has that nuance of jazz to it.
Yeah. It's just I grew up listening to so much jazz, and I don't look it, but I actually have a really big classical background.
Bach.
Well, I have a really big.
I cannot deal with this one right here. I can't.
I have a really big background in wind instruments, particularly brass instruments. Trombone is my instrument of choice.
Yeah.
But I can play tuba, I can play baritone, I can play euphonium, I can play trumpet.
Not the euphonium. Oh my God.
It's not that much different from a baritone. It's just bigger.
Yeah.
It's more tubing, a lot more air.
Flute.
I got the lung capacity.
Yeah. I was a little flute girl.
Flute's hard though.
The little triangle and the tambourine.
We love
I
we
did
love a
see you
percussion.
with the blue.
Oh,
Yeah.
but
We
you know
love a
what, though?
percussion queen.
The biggest one was a drum set because every year my mom would get me a drum set because by the next year I would have ripped it and torn it apart.
Yeah.
And then she lied and said Santa Claus bought me one again because I brought up my other one. No shade to lying or whatever. Santa Claus is real. But let me
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Let me take it
Like,
back.
no shade, it was Santa.
Yeah, but I always loved making beats. Like in high school, I was the beat girl and like they would freestyle to my beats or whatever. Oh, baby, I can make beats, honey. And it's just like, and I think my brother my brother had like a trumpet, and then my youngest sister, I think, played an instrument or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, music is so fruitful for the soul, and it just tells so much. It tells the stories of our experience, and I love that you are using your platform and that you're using your gifts to be able to do that. In 10 years, where would you like to see yourself?
Rich.
Not necessarily rich, but
No,
definitely.
we're manifesting rich, okay? Listen, I learned that lesson as a young trans man to kind of put myself in this position where I didn't feel like finances were important, but rich is definitely a goal because money does create like this cushion for you.
Yeah, a cushion to be able to comfortably do the things you want to do.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's where I want to be.
Millions of dollars.
I want to be at the point where, one, I would love to establish myself as one of the faces you think of when you think of like trans artists. I really want to like push for that visibility because I know that was something that was really, really important to me.
Oh, is this you? Right? Okay.
Oh yeah,
look
that
at
is me.
that.
Yeah, and so like I grew up listening to hip hop has always like taken a big part of my life as well. Like I grew up listening to it through all of my childhood because of my dad and because of my older brother. So it's a genre that's always been a big part of my life and something that I wanted to. When I started making music, like something I really wanted to express. But at the same time, my forefront with all the music that I make is that I want to be visible for people so that the next generation of trans artists can push the envelope even further than I could have.
That's right.
And,
Speak on it.
but while I'm here, I'm going to try to push it as much as I can by being fun and sexy and silly.
Ooh.
Because I feel like, a lot of my music has comedic elements to it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know.
Yes, ma'am. When you're like, when you talk about your dick,
That was a double wet.
right? I lost my shit the first time I heard that because like the truth in the matter is like there's this toxic idea of how to be masculine or performing in that space or whatever that is, but you're breaking those barriers by kind of just stepping in and being like, yeah, I'm a trans man. And the other thing that I also found was amazing was the quality of the music video that you made it. And it was also a T for T love story. I don't know if you know that, Blossom.
Oh, we love T for T. Brown.
Your music video, how did that concept even come into fruition? And what was the inspiration on that? And again, I love that you used a lot of community in that video.
Yeah, the entirety of the team who helped make that music video come to life, all queer people. Like everybody was queer. A lot of trans people present in the room
It
as
was
well.
Sexy. Like you were getting like whipped and chained.
Yeah.
And all, I was like, what is
Ooh,
happening?
I have to go
Yeah.
check this out.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, please go check out my music video. We put a lot of heart and soul into that thing.
Yeah.
That music video was actually born from if you guys are you guys familiar with the app Lex?
Yes.
So that was born off of me responding to an ad that my director made that was like, hey, I'm looking for queer artists to like maybe collaborate with on a potential music video. I want to build my portfolio and like if you send me your music, like I'll reach out to you. So I was like, at this point, I was still pretty early in my career. Like Yes Ma'am had just come out. So I was like, I don't know if my music's good enough to be able to pitch my music to a director for a music video. But I was kind of like, you know what? Shot in the dark. Like, you might as well, like, what do you have to lose? This person just being like, no. So I was kind of like, let's do it. So I sent over like I'd spent like an hour trying to write this email of being like, hello, my name is Boy Bowser. I'm a trans artist and I'd love to work with you. Here's some of my work. I'd love to make a music video for this specific song. And like my whole message is about, trying to uplift like trans people and like as like a person of color, like trying to write from my own experiences and that type of thing.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
And like the next day they responded and they were like, dude, I checked out your music and I fucking love it. Let's make a music video.
Yeah.
And from there we just kind of started brainstorming. But I have to give all the credit for like a lot of the scenes and like the writing just to my director Tree. They're amazing to work with and they were just so stellar throughout all of it. And like they kind of came up with like the concept and like a lot of the designs, and I helped with a lot of the set design, but like everything about like the angles and like these different set designs and everything, that was all just their creation. So I really have to give all of them the credit on that. I was just the dude who made the song and provided the face.